Hello and welcome to the Monday News Roundup. This is Pretty Good Gaming. My name's Gareth Evans. I'm joined by Mr. Henry. There's nothing interesting about me today. Cooper.
Yeah, I'm not wearing a fun t-shirt today, sorry.
Now this is the Monday News Roundup where we look at it's like a more relaxed look at the weekend's headlines, things that caught our eye since like Friday, since everybody was at home playing their games, not interested in the news. We'll catch you up today in this show. So viewer discretion advised. There may be some faff in this video. I like to call it the Daily Piffle, which Henry isn't a fan of, but
it's also not daily. The weekly piffle might work.
I don't care. I love that it triggers people. Anyway, let's go on to the first story of today. Now, Fallout 76 Wastelanders update got a preview this weekend. Now, this happened at PAX East. That is an event that is still happening.
Someone actually went to PAX East.
Yeah, well, Bethesda did, and they held a panel. They did show off the Wastelanders gameplay for the first time. This is the update where NPCs are coming back to Appalachia, and it's arriving on April the 7th, and it's also the game is arriving on Steam on that day too. This might give a whole bunch of people a new reason to play Fallout 76, since it was so devoid of the reasons why we play a Fallout game in the first place. Now they're bringing back these NPCs, and there's a bunch of other things that are interesting to your regular single-player Fallout players. So the dialogue system where, quote, the decision you make may help you forge alliances, find an alternate way to get something done, or even have an impact on your reputation with settlers or the raiders. So not only is the dialogue system coming in, you've getting this reputation system on top of that too, and then the NPC interaction. It isn't just robots and consoles and all that sort of stuff. That is something that definitely appeals to me. You also get a new dialogue history option, so you can keep track of everything that you said. You can just skip through the dialogue if it bores you, and it'll recap it like the last 8 entries on the dialogue system for you. So that's a time-saving device if you just want to skip through. You can also adjust your camera angle during conversation. Now that is revolutionary, Henry. That is revolutionary. Really is. There's 2 new locations, which are like hub cities or whatever, with new factions. And another interesting update is that indoor quest locations where you talk to NPCs, they're now single player instanced. Okay, it'll just be you there or your group there interacting with the NPCs. There are also companions or allies that you can kind of recruit and romance, and there's 2 of which have been confirmed so far, which is good. Now, does this take it more in the way of a more traditional Fallout experience, do you think?
Well, it definitely sounds like they've put a Fallout game in Fallout 76 at last. You would have thought it would be there in the first place, but nope. What people really wanted was a PvP experience, but it turns out that might not even be the case.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to this, there was an article in the usgamer.net, and it was titled, Bethesda was surprised how few people want to take part in PvP in Fallout 76.
It's almost like people want to play a Fallout game when they buy a Fallout game.
That's interesting. Now, this is Pete Hines, the head of PR, global marketing, whatever his title is. He's a PR guy, let's be honest. He said, well, I mean, at the end of the day, our intention was always, we're going to put this out there, see what folks think, and then cater the stuff that we do later to their reaction. Great sentence. And then carries on. So, for example, I think we were a little surprised how few people wanted to take part in PvP and how many more they were interested in PvE together. Another great sentence. As opposed to, I want to test my mettle against you and let's get into a duel. Some folks who do, don't get me wrong, but I think it's smaller percentages of a player base than we thought. So he's surprised how few people want to take part in PvP. Let's backtrack a minute here. At launch, they were anti-griefing kind of laws in the game where if you kill someone, you get a marker on your head, you get like a bounty or something. Like they literally disincentivized PvP in that way. Nobody's taking part in PvP because they get punished for it.
Yeah, I wonder why no one wants to play PvP. Not only because it's a Fallout game and people generally don't want that, but you've made it hard and unpleasant to do and like hoops to jump through because you have to shoot someone and then they have to shoot you to like engage the duel. I mean, you might as well just give them a gauntlet and smack them on the face and throw it down to really trigger it the old-fashioned way.
And the thing is, like, if people want a PvP fix, they don't go to Fallout. They come to Fallout for the RPG fix, like the world and the stories. They go to Call of Duty, they go to Battlefield, they go to whatever PvP game is better than Fallout, because I can guarantee you there are dozens of them. that are better at PvP than Fallout. Just an indication of how naive they were going into that and not understanding their core player base, I think. But lo and behold, maybe they've learned the lesson now. Now, next story, PS5's got some leaks, right, Henry?
Again, more leaks. Who knows if they're true? No one ever knows. But so this new one is suggesting that the PS5 announcement, official reveal day, all that, will be on March the 3rd, which at the time of recording is tomorrow. So if you're watching this tomorrow, it might already be out and it's already old news, but who knows. So part of this leak comes from the Giant Bomb podcast, where the cast member Matthew Rory may have let slip something. Maybe not, we don't know yet. So this is from episode 622, and it's from about 2 weeks ago, February the 18th to be precise. And if you jump to 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 27 seconds, very specifically, Rory says, when is that event that's supposed to happen? The 3rd, and then is very quickly cut off.
When is that event supposed to happen?
No announcement.
No announcement?
Yeah, I don't know.
And again, it doesn't specifically say March. All it does say is the 3rd, so it could mean anything. But there is another leak which suggests that it is March the 3rd as well. But this one, there's no sources to follow up on, so it's you can't validate the credibility of it. But this one is a forum post about the PlayStation 5, and it comes with a bunch of specifications, but specifically it does say being announced March 3rd. And among the specifications include a 13.3 terafloppage, so eat that, Xbox Series X, with your pitiful little 12 that everyone was excited about last week.
So small, man.
PS5s can have 13.3. I mean, every inch matters, am I right, guys?
Those games, right?
This leak also includes some stuff about the backwards compatibility, which has been long rumored. So it says full digital backwards compatibility with every PlayStation console and handheld for a library of thousands of games on day one.
If it's true.
That's amazing. If it's true. A bit of a talking point is that it does say digital. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can just put your old PS1, 2, 3, 4 games in the system and it'll work. We don't know. Enhanced DualShock 5 with haptic triggers and this one was also leaked elsewhere, heartbeat monitors and an inbuilt microphone. Heartbeat monitors in a controller is certainly a novel thing. I don't know how many video games would really use that, but I guess it could be interesting for like horror games. I know Alien Isolation, they did a bunch of stuff in their promotion where they attached heart rate monitors to the people playing it and said, oh look, it's so scary. That could be something.
Fitness games, fitness things.
Fitness trackers. And then some PlayStation AI assistant that allows you to change games, create parties, and more with voice commands, yada, yada, yada. And an estimated retail price of $499, which again is in line with a lot of predictions and other rumors about the PS5. Now, if you want more talk about the PS5, and one particular guy who's made a name for himself among gamers is a guy called Dave Thier. And he's a freelance writer and journalist who writes bits and pieces for Forbes every now and then. You may remember him from last year's big story about Sekiro and video game accessibility. Now, he said the game was too hard and FromSoft needs to respect their players by adding an easy mode. Sparked a huge controversy about difficulty for people and all that. Look it up. It's a huge thing. Well, he's back at it again, pointing out silly things. So he's written a Forbes article titled, I don't think Sony is going to reveal the PS5 in February. Okay, fair enough. That's a bit of it's an op-ed. When did this one come out? It came out on February the 29th. That's the last fucking day of February. Of course it's not fucking happening. Okay, maybe he's making a joke, funny, but not at any point in the article is there a shred of satire or irony. It just seems like he's knocked up an article. It's a Saturday, so it's probably his day off. He's like, I can put this together in 5 minutes. I'll get a tidy little extra paycheck for the weekend. Maybe he's got a wedding to go to next week and he's going to spend a bit of money. Who knows?
Maybe if he said not coming in March. Then it's fine, but the very last day in February, I don't know.
I mean,
bit of a stretch, that one. He's clutching at straws, if you ask me.
I mean, I can unequivocally say right now, right here, that the announcement for the PS5 is not happening in February.
Yeah.
There you go. In case you weren't aware, it's definitely not happening.
You should get a job in journalism.
I really should.
Right, moving on. Next headline is Google's ambitious push into gaming is floundering, and it's due largely to too few games on its Stadia platform. Here's why developers have held back. Now, this is an article published to Business Insider on March the 1st. They spoke to numerous developers about why their games are not on Stadia. And just a brief note, there are currently only 28 games on the Stadia platform. One indie developer said specifically, we were approached by the Stadia team. Usually with that kind of thing, they lead with some kind of offer that would give you an incentive to go with them. That was kind of non-existent. And that's the short of it, was the quote. And one of the publishing executives said to Business Insider, "It's that there isn't enough money there." And the offer from Google was, quote, "so low that it wasn't even part of the conversation." So low. We're talking about Google here, one of the biggest companies in the world. Anyway, the last quote is, one dev said, "When we're looking at these types of deals, we're looking at, is this enough money where we have the resources to make what we want, or is this an exclusivity deal that gives us security?" Obviously, they didn't meet any of those criteria. Not enough money, not enough security, and a lot of other devs that they spoke to were echoing the same thing. And like I said, one of the biggest companies in the world, and they could afford whatever they wanted to throw in money to throw into this platform. Is this showing a lack of faith in their project? Maybe they're trying to limit their exposure.
I mean, it's been going downhill for a little while now. I mean, reading this headline, it's something that, as gamers and people following this story, you probably already kind of knew. Yeah, the problem is it doesn't have games. But the fact that devs are coming out and saying that they're not going to gain anything by going on the Stadia platform, there's no money up front, what's the point? So it seems kind of obvious, but now it's good to get clarity from their side of it.
Yeah,
they're the people making the games.
That's not just us speculating now, it's them actually saying they're not offering enough money, and that's the reason.
Well, speaking of speculation there, that leads very nicely on to the next one, which is Kojima Productions, headed up by Mr. Hideo Kojima, only produced one game so far, but that is Death Stranding. One of their team members, a guy called Aki Saito, who is their Kojima Productions head of communications, he tweeted quite cryptically, and it's kind of got everyone excited, saying, "Sorry to be silent, everyone. I've been really busy lately. I think I can say more soon about what we're going to..." And then it stops. So he's there in the picture, sitting at a desk, he's surrounded by Death Stranding stuff, but interestingly, he's writing on a post-it note next week in English, not Japanese, he's a Japanese guy, it's written in English. So that suggests that there's going to be an announcement next week, i.e. this week now, so it happened over the weekend. And then the word silent in the caption has got a lot of people titillated that Silent Hills may be coming back, and that was the very much anticipated horror game with the playable teaser known as PT that was available. But the thing is, it's a game made by Konami, and it sort of fell apart right during the Konami big divorce that happened a few years ago. Look it up again, there's loads of stuff about that. So people are excited about that. I think Konami owns that IP, not just that game, Silent Hills. They own the whole Silent Hill IP, and I don't see them collaborating with Mr. Kojima anytime soon. But so this announcement could just be DLC for Death Stranding, or a move into film or TV, which Kojima spoke about in the past. But again, we have no idea, so just watch this space because something's coming this week.
There you go. So the next bit of news was that the GDC was postponed, not cancelled. This one was postponed. They announced it on Friday on their website, and they said they're rearranging it until the summer at the very earliest due to the coronavirus and all the devs pulling out. We had Facebook, Sony, Microsoft, Amazon, among others. There's just loads of people pulling out. So they decided that the best thing to do was delay it rather than cancel it, because people are working towards the GDC as a big event for game developers. A lot of people put a lot of time and effort into going to these events, so they're looking to rearrange it, but we'll see when that happens, depending on how the coronavirus pans out, of course. They are issuing refunds for the tickets and hotel accommodation that were booked through the GDC website. However, people will still be hurting if they booked accommodation elsewhere, and the flights, again, they're just going to lose out on their flights, and some devs might take a big hit because, like I said, they might be saving for years to attend this event and show off their games or whatever, talk about their games, and they just can't get that back. However, some relief efforts have been set up to provide financial aid to the affected. Now, the GDC relief fund so far has raised $35,000 for the relief effort, which would be going towards those indie devs who have lost out due to this postponement. We had an interesting thing from Jason Schreier, didn't we?
Yeah, the cancellation of GDC has been speculated by a lot of people, given how many people pulled out. But Jason Schreier, the notorious game journalist, leaker, extraordinaire guy that he is, tweeted shortly before the cancellation announcement, saying, "Sad to say it, but I'm cancelling my GDC trip. I suspect that the show will be officially cancelled by the end of the day." Now, I'm sure he doesn't mean it this way, but it really does make it sound like they've cancelled because he's not going.
Yeah.
The games journalist not going to the game developers conference. That's what GDC is. It's game developers conference. They cancelled it because of him. Because I'm Rockstar Jason motherfucking Schreier. If I'm not going, you're gonna cancel your shit. I'm the big draw here.
Microsoft ongoing, Sony ongoing, Facebook ongoing. But I've cancelled this morning, so it's going to be cancelled by tonight. That's it. Game over.
Okay, he probably didn't mean it, but it just sounds funny.
Lol.
Don't get upset.
That's what he meant, Henry. That's what he meant.
That's what he meant.
Okay, next up, another funny story. EA makes pro FIFA players settle match with rock, paper, scissors. Now, if you haven't noticed, if you played on EA Origin over the last few weeks or a couple of weeks, whatever, the service has been down so often, like 3 times, leaving players unable to play games like Apex, FIFA 20 and Battlefield 5. Now, this impacted the qualifying round for the FIFA 20 FUT 20 Champions Cup, which, because players couldn't connect for 3 hours, they had to decide at playing rock, paper, scissors. And one player who was affected by this, Sean Brandshaw Galea, a FIFA pro, he tweeted, "I cannot believe it. We literally had to play rock, paper, scissors because we couldn't find each other to invite in an EA licensed qualifier. W2F, 2 crying emojis. I am done." Always online games, man. They can't even get their official events to work because their servers go down. Come on.
How can you have an official licensed event decided like that? Surely you just cancel the qualifiers and just run it again.
What, do it tomorrow? I mean, I don't know.
Part of the advantage of an always online game is that you can just do the online stuff later. You can just host it again. But anyway, moving on to another online game. Counterstrike Global Offensive has recently broken its concurrent player record on Steam again. A few weeks ago, it set the record at 876,575 players, and it's now broken again, and its new total is 924,045, making it the current #1 game on Steam according to Steam charts, which is pretty damn impressive for a game that came out in 2012. It's an 8-year-old game. Now, people are still really interested in it. Last week we covered a similar sort of thing with Rainbow Six Siege, which broke its peak concurrent player record. So it just goes to show, if you support your game with the idea of it being games as a service, if you support it really well, people will keep playing it and keep coming to it.
Absolutely. Now, next up, a couple of really quick ones. Final Fantasy VII Remake demo is out effing now. If you're not playing it or downloading it, what is wrong with you? We have done both of those, and Henry's had his fingers on the thing, and we're going to be making some content on that this afternoon, maybe too. So check out the channel. Maybe
yet to happen, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, see how that goes. We've also got some wonderful 101 gameplay. So 15 minutes worth of gameplay if you want to check that out. That's the new Platinum thing, isn't it? It's
Platinum are doing 4 games. They've got like a big PR thing about it. Wonderful 101 is the first one, and it's a remaster of an old game coming to Switch and PS4 and stuff. They kickstarted it. It's doing really well.
If you're interested, check that out. Now, the very last news item today is this week's game releases, and it is slim pickings, unfortunately. So March the 3rd, which is tomorrow, Curse of the Dead Gods.
Curse of the Dead Dogs. No one's playing that.
Dead Gods. Get that right. This comes to Steam Early Access on the PC tomorrow. So this is an indie roguelike isometric action game. So that looks pretty cool. Division 2 Warlords of New York expansion is arriving on all the platforms March 3rd, which is tomorrow as well. And now another kind of interesting one, Black Mesa, which is the years in development Half-Life remake, is finally a release, and it's been in early access for so long. It's releasing on March the 5th on the PC, so check out that, you Half-Life fans. Next up, March the 6th, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX has come to the Switch. And lastly, Yes Your Grace has come to the PC on March the 6th. And that is it for today's Monday News Roundup. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave us a like, leave us a comment. Head over to patreon.com/PrettyGoodGaming if you want to support us bringing you this independent news coverage on YouTube. And that's it. From Henry and I, we will see you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now. Hello, welcome to the Monday News Roundup, sponsored by Old School Gamers. Oh, fuck, that got her over the weekend.
Good, because it definitely sounded like you said old stool.
Old Stool Gamers.
Like poop.
Old poo gamers. Old shit gamers just like us.
Pretty shit gaming.
Lol.